Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. You guys know what time it is. Time for another client update. And for those of you who like these type of videos, please remember to click like down below. Keep the likes higher than the dislikes. It would be greatly appreciated. But we've seen the first bit of information from one of my clients go public. Now, what people don't realize on my private Facebook, where I have a lot of other coaches, trainers, things like that, some of my clients do talk about their stuff a little bit. There is more stuff there, and a lot of people have tried to joke and say, oh, Jason doesn't have clients. Actually, I have a lot of clients at this point. I have a lot of clients. A lot being a relative term, a lot for me. But several of them do discuss their stuff publicly. I do have a YouTuber who I am coaching who is going to go public. He is going to put his stuff out there. Some of you have figured out who it is. And when I said a sizable following, I don't mean a million guys. I'm talking people closer to the 100,000 subscriber mark. But yeah, I am actually coaching a YouTuber who will be putting his stuff out public here later as he starts to make progress. So that actually is happening. And I have a second one, a little bit smaller channel, who I might be working with coming up. But I have a client who is actually going to discuss this stuff in an interview, most likely coming up here on YouTube. He's going to discuss some of this stuff that we've done with him, and he'll publish it later for you guys. But we saw his before and after picture. And got a lot of positive responses on different social media. And a lot of people noted, hey, well, look at his delts. He lost fat. Now, the reality is, you guys got to understand, leaner guys look big without a shirt. He isn't actually as big as some people think he is. And some of the people caught that. They're like, guys, you are blowing this out of proportion. He looks, pretty big at this point without a shirt because he's lean and he's been gaining muscle. But he's a late novice, right? He's a late novice. He went from 150 to 160 pounds. We put 10 pounds of muscle on him. A lot of people would say, well, that seems like a lot in the time period you've been coaching people because you did that in like 4 months? Yeah, about 4 months. 10 pounds of muscle in 4 months. That is a lot. However, this is someone who was an undereater without optimized training programming. This is someone with a history of being way underweight. And in fact, he's going to discuss on a channel that discusses eating disorders his history with that. So again, it looks like he's going to do an interview there. I've already talked with him and the other channel who he's going to do that on. And that channel has actually reached out over to me because I've been friends with them a long time to possibly coach them next year. So that will could possibly be 2 different YouTubers I'm coaching so that people can see what they're doing and we'll get some public info. But he's one of these guys who's an example of how different people respond to things because I see that a lot. My different clients respond differently. And, actually the funny thing is, take me for example, I don't get big round shoulders from the press, right? You guys have seen me do 5 sets of 10 multiple times with 135 with multiple different barbells on the standing press. I've strict pressed 227.5. People look at that and go, well, why don't you have the big round delts? Well, because my delts don't get big and round and respond to the strict press. They just don't. Different people respond differently. So you have this individual, this lifter, who I'm actually really proud of. He's made phenomenal progress, and he actually is a really great person. And I've actually seen his own attitude and everything grow over the time I've been coaching him. But he does train hard. He trains hard. He is eating hard. Again, when you have someone who's struggled with a history of being underweight, have struggled with eating disorder, and they are able to consistently eat and put on 10 pounds of solid muscle on a bulk and able to, again, keep their food tracked close enough on point to where they gained purely lean mass, no fat gain, no visible fat gain, and able to put on 10 pounds of pure muscle, he's got a pretty good amount of discipline with what he's eating. Now, he has to kind of force feed a little bit, and people would laugh, but this is one of my guys who drinks like a gallon of milk a day. And I think that goes to highlight another point that we'll come to with that. But I want to go back to the shoulders. You have guys like this who, getting his strict press past 135, built those shoulders. Because realistically, he doesn't do a lot of exercises. He's still a late novice lifter. He's a late novice lifter. I'm going to list for you guys the exercises he does. And I think for a lot of people, because of just the shoulders and everything, they'll be shocked. They'll be shocked at what his exercises are. He does the box squat. He does the sumo deadlift. Now, granted, not very well, but he does the sumo deadlift. We've had to work on that a lot. He does a sumo deadlift. He does good mornings. he does glute bridges. Okay, that's the 4 exercises he does for his lower body. Upper body, he does bench press, does a somewhat close grip. It's a very, very tricep dominant bencher, by the way. Very tricep dominant bencher. He was actually worried his chest was going to get too big from bench pressing, and he was scared to do heavy benching. Okay, but we've got his bench up to like 225 now. So he's a 225 bencher, but he bench presses. He does the standing barbell press. He does Pendlay rows. He does weighted chin-ups, and he does the JM press. That's his 5 upper body exercises. So he does those 4 lower, those 5 upper. He does 9 exercises plus ab work. Right? He does ab work. He likes crunches. Now, he's really strong on chins. He can rep 75 from a dead hang. And that's pretty good. When he's considering a guy who weighs 160 that he can hang 75 pounds, and he can do at least 3 clean reps from a dead hang with that and go all the way up and touch his chest to the bar. It's pretty decent. And he's got actually pretty decent back. You can't really see it as well in those front views, but he's actually got pretty good back development. But again, we do chins, we do rows, and we do deadlifts. Kind of hard not to have good back development. Now, people will look at that and go, well, where's all the delt work? The rows and the overhead press. That's what he built his delts with. It is what it is. Now, do I have him do 3s and 5s on the press? Not really. He likes to max out on his own. This is one of these guys who will max out on the press outside of his normal training. He'll go in on one of his off days, and I want to test my max overhead press, and that's fine. Probably hasn't hurt his shoulder development. We do a lot of 10 rep sets for overhead press for him. He does a lot. We treat it as a supplemental exercise. We treat it for volume. We do it for hypertrophy. We do the same thing for him on rows and the JM press. Now, a lot of people would look at this guy and say, why the JM press? Well, number one, he really likes the exercise. And we noticed early on, he's a very, very tricep dominant bench presser and presser in general. We had to beef his triceps up quickly, and because, again, he's bulking, was eating a significant calorie surplus, gaining weight every single week. He basically was gaining almost a pound a week, over half a pound a week. Our goal was a half a pound a week. He exceeded that. But you guys need to factor in this guy has a maintenance calories of over 3,000. Again, we come over to the point of physical activity of what I say. When you start training people hard and they are active and they have an active lifestyle, healthy young men don't have 2,500 calorie maintenances once they're physically active and training hard. Okay, it doesn't happen. His maintenance calories are above 3,000 at 160. Okay, he eats up to 4,000 calories every day. It's why we do the gallon of milk. A gallon of milk has 2,400 calories. And he basically lives on sandwiches and milk. That's what he lives on. He's a college kid. Sandwiches and milk. That's what he lives on. Keeps tons of milk in the fridge. Runs down and buys extra milk all the time. Again, that's another thing, though. He's active. He'll run down to the store, ride his bike down to the store and grab a gallon of milk. Bring it home in a backpack. So, very, very active kid. Have him on a 4-day-a-week program, an upper-lower split. But his delts developed from those exercises. Yours may not do that. Yours may not do that. And I think that's a point that we need to remember when it comes to exercise selection. This is a perfect example of how genetic structure and how muscles respond individually to certain loads. That, a lot of guys will be like, wait, you're telling me if I get my standing press up to 140 or 145, that's what my delts will look like? No, I'm not telling you that at all. That's what his delts look like doing that. You might have to do a bunch of smaller direct delt work for your side delt. He doesn't have to. They respond well. But we do a lot of tricep work for him. Triceps are where we throw all of our extra focus. Like if any muscle that we've hit beyond the norm where we do supplemental work for him has been his triceps, because he had little tiny triceps when we started. He's a very tricep dominant presser. Okay, by focusing on the JM press, it was able to carry over to his benching. It was able to carry over to his overhead pressing very, very effectively. He enjoys the exercise. He excels at it. He's actually gotten pretty strong at it. He's added like 40 pounds to what he does for work sets on the JM press. That has carried over to like 40 pounds on his bench press in a pretty short period of time. And yeah, his shoulders blew up from all of that. So again, we see how different people respond. He's again a perfect example when you come over and look at him of how some guys, when we talk about you need a gallon of milk a day, everyone's like, oh, they're just going to get fat. You're trying to make people fat. Did he get fat? I want you guys to look at that before and after in the thumbnail. This is the sort of person who you put on a gallon of milk a day. Whole milk. Did anybody looking at that before and after, does any person out there seriously think that his health has been compromised in any way in that time period? Or does he look healthier now? He hasn't gained any body fat. He's stronger and more athletic. He's stronger and more athletic now. He's healthier. He feels better. Okay? A gallon of milk a day, if it fits within your caloric needs, will not make you fat. He has to eat more than another 1,000 calories of whole food and other foods after a gallon of milk. Okay? Active, healthy, athletic men are not going to be harmed by drinking a gallon of milk a day. Perfect example. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.